What's up, you guys, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Fit Women's Weekly podcast. In fact, this is the first podcast episode of the year. So welcome. I'm excited to hang out with you guys over the next year, share my passion for fitness, for women, for nutrition, for mindset. I have a lot of great topics that we're going to be discussing over the next couple of months and some great people that are going to be on the show as well. So it's already off to a great start for the most part, but hopefully you are having a great start. And I'm saying it's mostly been a great start because over the holiday weekend, I did not go crazy by any means, but I did eat off of my normal nutritional habits because I wanted to enjoy myself. I had some dessert. I had some split pea soup, which is our family's tradition for the New Year's. I always fix split pea soup, and I also always fix lentil soup because both of those are supposed to bring wealth and good fortune for the upcoming year. I freaking love split pea soup. But side note, I actually hate peas. But it hit me hard, and it was just a really good reminder to me and my body that I am still healing. My gut is still healing. And so, yes, I am back on my normal nutrition of a mostly carnivore style diet because just that little bit of sugar, just that little bit of split peas had me extremely bloated, had my knees and my joints achy. I've had a headache off and on for the past 24 hours. And I will say this. I thought that it was all because of nutrition. Obviously, the bloat was, but I also think I might be fighting off this little cold that's going around everybody right now. So hopefully I get through it pretty fast, but that's okay. I am still excited. I think it was a valuable lesson, especially as we go into the new year, that it takes time for the body to heal. You know, my body had been through a lot over the past several years. So to ask for it to completely heal up in a matter of a few months was kind of silly of me, but it was a fun way to experiment and find out like, okay, I'm still healing. Keep going with this. And I'm already feeling loads better after just a day of getting back to my normal routine. So yeah, but hopefully your new year started off a lot better and you feel fantastic this week. We started ours on actual New Year's Day. We went to the beach and had a run, which was so cool. My husband is not a runner by any means, but he's really focusing on trying to build his endurance back up. He can run. He has done runs with me. He's done ultra marathons with me before. So to have him out with me and actually want to go running was really cool. We only covered about 3 miles, but yeah, it was a great day just to get out, start the year off. We live near the beach, being in Charleston, but we actually don't go to the beach very often. We went maybe once or twice last year, and so it was just a fun way to be like, okay, let's actually enjoy the things that we have near us, especially since we don't want to live in Charleston forever. So we want to take advantage of those little gifts that we have, and the beach is one of those places. I've grown up here, and it never gets old. So we made the drive out, which is often a pain in the butt, and it was just the best way. So speaking of New Year's, I would love to hear about yours. What goals do you have if you're watching this on YouTube? Leave them down in the comments. And if you have questions specifically for your goals, if they are fitness and nutrition related that I can help you with, feel free to ask those too. And if you're listening to this as a normal podcast, you can always slide into my DMs over on Instagram, Kendall Boyle Fitness, or slide into my email, kendall@fitwomensweekly.com. All right, so I know that a lot of people are starting New Year's with a new workout program, experimenting with nutrition, and just feeling motivated to tackle their goals and to push themselves. Which, by the way, if you are looking for help, looking for motivation, looking for support, looking for training help, it's not too late to sign up for my Strong Start 8-week program. I'll make sure to link the application down below in the show notes. I should also note that yes, you are applying, but it's not like you're applying to college. I just want everybody who's interested in the program to get a full understanding of what's expected, if it's the right thing for you. So it's just a couple of basic questions, and then you and I can decide together of like, yes, this is for you. No, it's not. Basically, I just want to make sure that everyone that signs up for Strong Start or just Fit Women's Weekly Live, if you don't want to do a challenge, you could also just try just Fit Women's Weekly Live. But I want to make sure that people that sign up for it actually want to do it. I never want someone to sign up for one of my programs and me just collect money and go on your merry way and forget about it. I want to make sure that you are in it, that you're like, yes, this is 8 weeks. I want to commit to it. And so having that application process really helps with that. So if that's something that you're interested in, go click down below. I will say, because I've had a lot of people ask, what is the price? You guys, it's $185. That's $185 for the entire 8-week program. There's no secret fees. You are not committed to anything beyond the 8 weeks. It's 8 weeks of workouts, of private training, of private coaching, of cooking classes, of recipes, of an actual training plan that is interactive. You get to mark off the days that you work out. You get to mark off your daily fit quickies. All of that's included. So go click it, apply, let's get you set. We are just a few days away from it, and I would love to have as many podcast listeners join in as possible. All right, but if you're not planning on participating in the fun, let's talk about strength training at high volume. Now, this is a really personal topic for me because this podcast topic came to my mind because of a conversation that I had with my mom, and I'll get to that in just a second. So there's 2 ways to lift at high volume. One is to lift lighter weights at more reps, or to lift heavy weights at lower reps, right? Makes sense. So for example, if you have 20 pounds dumbbells for your squats and you do 50 reps total, that's 1,000 pounds volume, right? Or if you do 100 pounds for your squats and you only do 10 reps, guess what? That's 1,000 pounds of volume. It's the same, it's just broken up differently, right? And so for some people, either is fine depending on what you have access to. If you've been lifting weights for a long time and you've mastered your form, then you can go and grab that 100 pounds for your squats and do just great. You can lift heavy. You can knock out a couple of sets of 3 to 5 reps and see what you can accomplish. You can even go heavier than that. But for some, that is a terrible idea. Now, remember when I said that this is a personal topic for me? Here's why. So my mom, I love her to death. I don't think she ever listens to the podcast, but if you do, hi mom, is 63 years old. And she goes through periods a lot, like most people do, especially at her age, of working out consistently and then life getting busy. And then she doesn't work out for 6 months, sometimes a year. And then she gets back into a different routine. And I'm just proud of her for her realizing of the fact that, okay, I haven't been taking care of myself. I need to start making it a priority again. But she was at her doctor's office recently and he asked about her workout routine. And at the time, she was doing bar classes. She really enjoyed the bar classes. I was happy with her as long as she was doing something that she could do consistently. Now, even though I had told her in the past to focus more on her actual strength training, I was just happy my mom was moving and trying to take care of herself. So he told her that she should stop her bar classes and start focusing 100% on lifting weights. And while I do agree with that, again, this was something that she had been doing consistently, and something is better than nothing. And bar is a form of strength training, so that might have been working for her. However, I do want her to lift some weights because that's important for your bone health, for your metabolism. But of course, I'd been telling her for that for years, and parents don't listen to their kids, right? But here's what I don't agree with and why that doctor, to put it bluntly, pissed me off. And it almost caused my mom and I to have a little bit of an argument. I kind of could read the room and said, like, all right, fine, whatever, I'm going to close my mouth. But let's just hear this for a second. So he told her that for her bone health, she needed to lift heavy, which, yes, for your bone health, it is important to put external stress on your joints in order for them to build strength so that you don't have to worry about osteopenia or osteoporosis. But he said if she was able to lift a weight for more than 6 reps in a set, that she wasn't lifting heavy enough. All right, so hear me out real fast. This is a woman who has had back surgery, and not just any back surgery. She has had her disc replacements. She's also had a frozen shoulder, and she's dealing with another shoulder issue in her other arm. So she's had injuries, to say the least. And then she also hasn't had much experience with heavy lifting, though I will say about, 5 or 6 years ago, she actually did come to my studio and I would train with her and she would do great. I taught her how to deadlift, I taught her how to squat, but I was always watching her form. So she has a little bit experience, but not enough. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. So should someone who, like her, so is this someone who should lift heavy where she maxes out at 6 reps? No, absolutely not. And if you're new to picking up weights or still working on your form, you'd be better off avoiding this as well. So, what should you lift, and what would I recommend to my mom? I would recommend for someone just getting started who are just learning the basics of strength training to keep their reps more between the 10 to 15 rep range, at least for now. This is light enough where you can slow down and really focus on your form, but it's also few enough that you can improve your muscle mass. You can make yourself stronger. You are putting external forces on your body and telling your body to strengthen up not just the muscles, but also your bones. But of course, when I told my mom that I hated his advice, where she's from that age where she thinks that doctors kind of know everything, she rolled her eyes and reminded me, but Kendall, he's a doctor. He knows what he's doing, right? Okay, so here's the thing. If I have strep, if I have a weird mole, or if I have something like honestly medically wrong with me, like if this cold were to turn into something a little bit more, I'm going to head his way. I trust his opinion for that. But what does he truly know about exercise? Not very much. And the same goes with nutrition, but that we're going to talk about nutrition on a whole nother day. And really just to drive my point, there was a study done in 2021 called The Analysis of American Medical Students' Knowledge of Physical Activity Recommendations. Okay, and here's what it found. This is a direct quote. Despite recent efforts to improve physical activity education in med school, students feel unprepared to apply their knowledge in a clinical setting and remain unaware of national physical activity guidelines. Future studies should determine how to practically integrate physical activity education longitudinally into curricula to change physical activity education from an afterthought to an essential component of medical school education. Basically saying, medical doctors, not all, I know that some do go out of their way to learn about physical activity, but most that have gone through medical school are not educated thoroughly on exercise and strength training. And then one last really, really important thing that I do agree with is that it is important for beginners, for all people, to focus on compound exercises. And the doctor was stressing this to my mom, that instead of doing these smaller exercises like they were doing in her bar classes, for example, it was important for her to do more strength style exercises like squats, like deadlifts. And this is also something I had talked with her about for years, because I would say, hey mom, what was your strength routine today? Because she, like I said, this has been off and on. So sometimes she'll just go to her general gym where it's just like the machines set up, and she would tell me like, oh, I do 10 reps on the tricep push machine, and then I do the leg extension machine, and she just kind of does like the snake through all of the different stuff. And I would tell her like, okay, well, that's great, but I also want to see you doing some things where you're not using the machines. And so it's really important, again, if you are, maybe this is how you've been working out, or if you're new to getting into more strength style workouts, maybe you've been running and you're like, no, I know that I need to add the strength to my running to make me a stronger runner. It is important to step away from the machines and allow your body to move through its own range of motion in order to not only build the strength that you want, but also to focus on building stability strength, which when you're doing it on a machine, it has a set range of motion already. You're moving it through its platform. You're not using your stabilizer muscles when you do that. You're also going to be focused on building balance. So important for all of us, especially as we get older, right? Balance is key to healthy lifestyle as we get older and older. And then it's also going to help to improve your core strength and your overall strength. Now, somebody like my mom and myself, who both of us have disc issues in our back, it is so important that we keep a tight core and a strong core, which I'm actually doing a video this week on my Instagram about the difference between ab training and core training in order to help protect our spine. As we get older, we want to make sure that we're still able to rotate, to move, to bend, to pick up in order to just live healthy and not pull our back out, right? Or not be able to do the things that we love to do. So here are my biggest pieces of advice. If you are somebody who is just getting started, or if you just like to talk about strength training to your friends and you know somebody who is just getting into their strength journey, these are the tips that I would give them. So you can steal these and share them if you want. 1, start focusing on fundamental compound moves like the ones that I've already said: squats, deadlifts, push-ups, planks. These are going to help you to build confidence, but also help open the doors towards working on other variations and more advanced moves. If you cannot do a proper squat, then you are going to be missing out on basically all the other movements. Squats, lunges, and planks are the fundamental movements where all other moves are derived from, as well as deadlifts, because deadlifts are also super important for hip hinging, for picking up, for if you want to get into kettlebells, but you can't do a proper deadlift, then you're not going to be able to do a proper kettlebell swing or a kettlebell snatch or a kettlebell clean. So you want to make sure that you master the fundamentals. And again, that is plank, because the thing about plank is if you can't plank, you can't push up, right? Plank, squat, lunge, and deadlift. Start with lighter weights and then move and more reps to decrease your risk of injury. And again, focus on feeling how your body moves and learning the actual movements. When you're going through lighter weights, you're able to see if something feels right or if it doesn't. If you're lifting such a heavy weight where you're only trying to knock out 3 reps at a time, it's really hard for you to be able to see, is my body telling me this is too heavy or am I hurting myself, right? Because heavy loads are hard. They hurt. But there's a difference. And when you're trying to learn how to listen to your body, you got to start with the lighter weights so that you know what the move is supposed to feel like, so that as you push yourself harder with the heavier weights, you're able to say, this doesn't feel right. And then finally, don't think that one set of reps or sets is the only way to go. Progressively making things tougher and playing around with different rep ranges as you build confidence is how you are going to see results. I've already talked about progressive overload time and time and time again, and it is so important. So as you get stronger and you get more confident, then you want to maybe decrease those rep ranges, increase the sets, vice versa. But I also want to make it really important that we're always stressing as trainers the importance of progressive overload. But when you're first getting started, it's okay for the first few weeks, I would say 2 to 3 weeks, maybe even the first month, to stick with what you have, like a lighter weight, and stick with that weight as you just learn the form. And I cannot stress enough how important and beneficial it is to set up your camera, film yourself doing the exercises, because you can look at a picture of yourself and say, I'm doing this right or I'm doing it wrong. But a lot of times we can't tell just by doing the movement, right? In our head, we feel like, yeah, I got this. And it's not until later when you look at it at a video and you go, oh, that's what I look like? And so in order to get stronger and build more confidence, don't worry so much about progressive overload at first. Just focus on the movement and watching yourself and learning things. And then that's going to make a smoother transition as you go. If you continue to progressively overload, making the weight heavier and heavier when you're first learning, you're going to put yourself at risk of injury as you move through the heavier weights, and it's going to slow your results down because you're doing it wrong or possibly doing it wrong. So make sure you're doing the move right, and then you can focus on getting stronger, making your workouts harder. So finally, you guys, if all of this seems super overwhelming and you want help of a certified personal trainer, or if you have a friend or a mother who's going through the same thing, consider Fit Women's Weekly. Now, the workouts are not easy by any means. However, I have created an Ignite program to get started, where it is a beginner-focused program for new members. If this style of training is brand new to you, some people can hit the ground running with the workouts that I do on a day-to-day basis. But I just wanted to toss it out there that there is a beginner program as well included in Fit Women's Weekly Live. But we do have other options as well. I currently have 2 spots available for my one-on-one private training for fitness and nutrition. I'll make sure to put the links down below for that. And then as far as group training is concerned, Fit Women's Weekly, I can assure you that there's nothing more inclusive. So if you're so nervous about trying something online, consider this. I mean, the Strong Start program has everything that you need. It has a training plan so that you can wake up, look at what you're supposed to do today, knock it out, and then not have it on your head of going like, is my program good for me? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? I have it laid out. I've created it all for you. All you have to do is do it. And if you do it, you're going to get the results that you want. And it's one less thing to have to worry about. So make sure, you guys, we're just days away. Get yourself signed up. And I am going to talk a little bit more about the Strong Start on Friday's episode. So if you have questions that you want to make sure I answer, do that, or go ahead, fill out the application down in the comment section or in the description, and you and I can decide together if that's the right program for you. And if you're not interested in it, that's okay. Hopefully today's episode was filled with nuggets that you get to walk away and go, that was pretty interesting. Thanks, Kendall. All right, you guys. So cheers to our very first podcast episode of 2023. I cannot wait to make another 100 episodes with you guys this year. And if you have any topics that you would like to make sure to get covered, always let me know. And if you have someone you would love to have on the show, or if you are someone that you want to be on the show, drop into my email, kendall@fitwomensweekly.com, and let's get it set up. All right, guys, have an amazing day. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, and I will be back on Friday.